Welcome to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at BTC. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so in the previous video, what we were discussing was the potential of actually having this as a 5-wave move. We were saying this would be 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're talking about the potential that this move in here could actually have been a triangle. So this is still technically a possibility. We could have actually looked to complete into this low point here and had this as a 5th wave, because our target box has been met up here towards this 31,984 to this 31,249. Now, it is also possible that we could still be forming something here like a diagonal, where if we want to count this slightly different, you could argue this was 4 here. This would be wave 1 to the upside. We'd be looking for a 3-wave move and then forming a contracting wedge shape pattern to the upside. So we need to be aware, because we're looking for a 5th wave, this can happen sometimes. And if we do actually see that, what we could see is price could actually still be pushed up here towards this 31,984 level, as well as that above us here we have these two blue lines which are sitting here towards this 31,765 and this 32,400 level. Now these would be previous swing highs here that I'm also keeping an eye on if we do see price actually look to push up into these higher zones. Though we also need to be aware, like I said, it is possible that this move could actually be completed here and we could look to break down in a bigger way. Before we go over that though, we need to also just discuss the potential that within here we could see something like this, where this is A, this is B, and then we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 back to the downside here. So if we are looking at that, I would still be looking out for the potential to find support here between this 29,664 to this 28,439. So if we see a 5-wave move to the downside here, what we could actually see is continuation to the upside after that point, treating this whole area here as a 4th wave and then still looking for this 5th wave target. Now this target would change slightly here if we went towards the lower range of this 50%, which is sitting at this 28,439. We could actually see price be looking at this as a target, this 32,374 to this 31,395. Now if we do, however, only come back to that 382, this target would remain around the same zone, but we'd have to monitor the internal waves here for more clarity as to where this could actually look to end. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Now, as well as that, we did talk about the possibility of extension in the previous video, where we were saying this could be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 here. In which case, what this means is we're looking for an additional 4th and a 5th wave. So even if we do look at this as a triangle and a completion here, we could actually still look to find support here. Now I have done this higher level here because we have a smaller wave 2 here. So if we do actually just get something along these lines where we get a 3-wave move to the downside and look to target out this 146 or this 0.236 area, which is sitting at this 30k level, what I'd be looking for would be the potential that we see a 3-wave move down here and still see an additional 5-wave move up. Now depending on where we come here, if we only came down to this 236, we would actually be looking for this as a 32,879 to this 32,192 as a possible target range. Alternatively, if we came down into this previous structure lower down here, which would be looking to actually come back into this 29k region, that target area would be pushed up here towards this 33,573 to this 32,450. Now this could actually tie into just having a little bit more upside here and could actually tie in with looking to sweep those highs. Now like I said, we could potentially still get something like a diagonal here. We're gonna have to give it a bit of space and see how it develops, but alternatively, if we just get a 3-wave move down that actually holds this previous area here, I would be on the lookout for that possibility of an additional 5th wave up here, where we would be looking for this target. Now, one other thing I want to discuss here is the super bullish count here, where we'd be arguing that because we're looking for that possibility of a 3rd wave here, what we could have is that this could actually be a 1, 2, this could be another 1 and a 2, and then we're looking for that potential of continuation to the upside. Now, what we potentially have here is the potential that we could be looking for a wave 3. So now I wouldn't expect this to be as small as this, but if we do see price actually start to break to the upside here in 5-wave structure and we move up to this 38,381, it could actually mean that we have an extension within here, because sometimes within our 3rd waves we don't get as deep retracements. Alternatively, if we do get something like that flat where this becomes A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what we could actually do is look to come back into this 382 level here of this 28,978, which would be tying in with a 0.382 retracement. Alternatively, somewhere between this and this 0.5, which is sitting at this 28,437, would be a common area for something like this to actually play into. So invalidation of this would actually come by crossing this 26,256. And what we would want to see here is, I wouldn't want to see this get too big, because this would be our higher degree wave 2, and it's already gotten to the point where, you know, we're starting to get a bit bigger than this wave 2 already. So I'd be a little bit cautious looking at it in this way. If we do start to look to break to the upside though directly, this 38,381 will be our confirmation. Now if we are arguing this is a 5-wave move completed into this high here, and we're looking for that possibility of a breakdown here, like I said, obviously we have that potential of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 finding support in this white box area and then continuation up. Or alternatively, if we do see a bigger 3-wave move A, B, and C, and actually look to come down into this lower target area here of this 28,761 to this 26,105 region, what we could actually see is a retest of this channel. Now this would be quite common with a breakout. We see consolidation within a channel, we see it break to the upside, and then we see it come back and retest it. If however we look to retest this and we actually fail to hold it and we break back in and turn it into resistance, that would tie into our more bearish count. So the bullish count actually relies on holding this 24,800 level, and what we'd be looking for here is that this could actually be a wave 1 or an A wave. We come back down for a 2, and then we look to progress up in that bigger 3rd wave. So this is going to be a very key area if we are looking for that bullish standpoint here. Now the alternative way that we were discussing this was also looking at the possibility that this could be a flat correction, in which case what we'd be looking at is something like this: A, B, and C. Now this has come up higher here than we typically look for a C wave, but it is still within the range. Even a move up to this 2618 is technically possible. It should actually be this 32k level. So if we do see price actually form something like this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 as a diagonal up into these levels, this could be a possible target area. It would also look to sweep that high that we talked about. So I'm going to keep an eye on it if we do see something like this develop. If however we get something like this where this is A, B, and C, and this is actually completed, what we could actually start to get is a bigger 5-wave move to the downside. So confirmation of this as a flat correction actually comes by taking the low here, which would be sitting around this zone here of this 24,826 level. So if we take that low, then that confirms this idea of the flat, and then we'd be looking for a move down. Now the way that that move down would happen would be in one of two ways. So if we're going to argue that this whole move is a W, X, and a Y, what we could actually get is that within this structure here, we have 3-wave move down here, we have a 3-wave move up here, and then we also have this 3-wave move down here. So this is what makes me say, you know, this could be something as simple as W, X, Y, X, and Z, and then we're looking for that bigger push up. Alternatively, what we could have is this could be a 3-wave move. We have 3 waves up, 3 waves down, 5 up. So that's a flat correction if we do confirm it. And if we do confirm the flat, what we'd be looking for here effectively would be whether this move plays out in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in which case we look to break this low again. Or alternatively, what we could get is a 3-wave move down. Now, the reason I don't like it as a WXY so much anymore is because we actually took the origin point here, which is this 30,472. Now, we can get this sometimes where we see price move above this in an X wave, but it becomes more likely at that point that it's going to be something like a impulse to follow in a flat correction. So if we are looking at a flat, our typical target area, if we're going to be looking at a running flat, is this 26,174, which would actually be back into the channel. So that's going to be somewhere we need to keep an eye on. Alternatively, if it's going to be expanding, what we could see is price come down towards this 25 and 67 to this 23,373 level. So there is potential that we could actually see price come down into these lower levels here if this is going to be a flat correction. So we need to keep an eye on that, whether we actually start to break down here in a bigger way. It is possible within the count that we could start to see that bigger rejection down in a 5-wave move. So we're going to have to monitor that and see whether we actually get this lower down structure. If it's going to be W, X, and Y, what we could see is 3 waves down into this 121. 26,205 is going to be that key level that we would be looking at within that count. Okay, so now we're going to go over the really short time stuff here. And I'm actually going to come in here and we're going to go into 30-minute So what I'm looking for here is that potentially what we could argue is that this could be A, this could be B, and then we could actually be looking for this C wave to play out. Now, C wave typically would be looking to target out this 1-to-1 area here, which would be at this 29,481, and minimum zone we'd be looking for would be this 0.618 here at this 30,204. Now, if we do see this actually push down here, where we see push down into some of these levels, what we could actually see is that this could just be A, B, and C, and then that could actually tie into that idea that we still have that additional fourth wave looking to push to the upside. Now, alternatively, if we do see this breakdown in a bigger way and we start to break down past this 1618 here at this 29,264 region, this could actually bring into play that idea of having a bigger flat correction taking place here. So we need to be cautious if we do start to get that idea of that flat. What we could see as a potential target area here, if I just throw this onto this count here, 29,359 would actually be our common zone that we would look for as a flat correction. But because we would have had our 1618 lower down there, what I would be potentially looking for is that price could even technically move down as deep as this 28,144, and this could still tie into the idea of a flat correction here. Though the problem is, if we do actually see price break down past this 1618, we get 3 waves up, we get a 5th wave, this becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This could then become either wave 1 or an A wave, and then we see 3 waves up and then that continuation down. So it's going to be very key here whether we actually manage to maintain the central line here from this channel. If we do, and we just get a 3-wave corrective move to the downside, then we can look for that possibility of continuation back to the upside. But until we actually take this high, we'd also need to be aware that if we are completed here, this could all just become A. We get 3 waves back, probably looking to target this B wave back up, and then looking for continuation down in corrective structure here. But this 1618 is going to be key. If we get a move directly down here, this would align with that idea of actually getting a impulse to the downside, which would not be a good thing. Like I said, it could be a flat correction here, and then we look to push up. But we'll have to monitor that, because until we actually take the high, that's only the only time we actually confirm the flat. Because when we have 5 waves down, it can always look to extend out. So we need to be careful of that. Now, some things that I want to talk about here is if we actually throw this daily CPR on here, what we can see is that we have actually lost these central CPR lines, and we do have this R1 target down here towards this 29,845. This would align with our 1-to-1 area, so I'll be keeping an eye on this. If we do see price breakdown back into this previous structure, potentially we could find some support here. Now, if we do look to break down deeper, we have the R2 at this 29k, the R3 at this 28,216, and the R4 at this 27,372. Now, as well as that, if we do see price actually manage to break back above these CPR lines, what we could see is it be gravitated towards the upside here at this 31,481, the 32,275, the 33,116, and the 33,904 are all common target areas here for this CPR. So we need to just be aware that if we're looking for something like that diagonal idea, or we might see as price actually be gravitated back up to some of these higher S lines. Now, if we are looking at that possibility of either direct breakdown or that possibility of just having a corrective move down here, then perhaps these R1 targets are going to come into play. Now, if I actually throw the weekly pivot points onto this as well, now we can see that we have the S1, S2 line here actually sitting at this zone of this 29,234. Then we have the S2 at this 28k, and this lower range here, this 27,187, is our S1 line. Now, we also do have the central CPR line sitting here towards this 26,178. We have the below the range of this actually sitting at this 25,800 level. So I'll be keeping an eye on these, particularly if we're looking at that idea of actually finding a bigger breakdown here where this becomes a bigger ABC pattern, looking to target out these lower levels here. Now, as well as that, if I turn on the monthly pivot points here, what we can see is that the central lines are sitting here between this 27,807 to this 27,407 region. We also do have this area here, which is quite interesting to me, which would be the S1 line back at this 29,422 level. If we do see price extend out here and we actually go past this 1-to-1, what we could actually see is price be gravitated back down into these levels. Once again, still looking for that potential that if we hold this, we could see something like a fifth wave up here. If we had to move down this low though, it would invalidate that idea of the diagonal pattern, because we're not allowed to cross this low of this 29,525 in that instance. If we do look to actually push up here, where, like we said, diagonal, potentially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what we could actually see is this S2 line come into play at this 31,626, and then a higher break would potentially be looking for this S3 line here at this 33,424 region. So gonna have to keep an eye on these levels as potential pivot points if we do look at price moving up here. Now, as well as that, obviously, if we do start to break down in a bigger way, we have the R1 line sitting here at this 25,409, the 23,616, and then the R3 down here at this 21,397 region. So I'm going to keep an eye on these if we do continue to see price actually break down into some of these lower levels here. Now, an interesting thing here, if I come back out here, is we were talking about this potential of actually seeing a move back up into this previous value area low here, and we did actually see a reaction from that point. So what I want to see here is that if we do actually continue to reject here to the downside, what we could actually see is the fact that we could actually still have a completed move into this high. So I want to just keep an eye on this. Obviously, there's nothing confirmed yet. We do have that bullish potential where we could still be looking for that higher degree count, where we'd be treating this as a 1-2-1-2 here, where we'd be looking for the possibility of actually starting this bigger third wave here, looking to target out this 51,778 level. But we don't have enough confirmation. What I want to see here is effectively 1, 2, then finding a bigger third, fourth, and a fifth, looking to push us up into some of these levels. So we're gonna have to be a bit patient and just wait for the confirmation. Okay, so I'm gonna leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video. Leave us some feedback down below, and also in the description you'll find a link to Discord. Come check it out, it's free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.